It's October. And you know what that means. We're going to be talking about spooky things. Unless it's not October and you're watching this another month. But the horror-themed lifestyle is pretty much a year long anyway, so who gives a shit? But yeah, regardless. Back when I reviewed Stranger Things, I compared that show to a bunch of old, 80s movies, a TV show called Twin Peaks. But apparently, there was an influence I missed. And people in the comments pretty much led me onto this show. But yeah, today's topic, we're going to be talking about a TV show from the 90s. A kids show. Also set in Indiana. Where weird and spooky things happen. So, without further ado, welcome to ObscuReviews.
Check this thing out.
Hey, watch where you're pointing that thing. What are you, crazy?
Don't worry about this thing. Must be 100 years old. Solid rust. Ain't even loaded.
Eerie, Indiana. Now, this is a show that I have no sentimental attachment to. I mean, this thing was made before I was even born, so I did not grow up with it, never watched it as a kid. I didn't even know it existed until a YouTuber by the name of Jet Strange told me about it. So, I watched this with no frame of reference, with a fresh mindset, completely blind. So, what did I think of it? I fucking loved it. And I'm really pissed at myself for not knowing about this. I mean, this is a show that was like made for me. In more ways than one. And look, I get it. It's obviously obscure. I mean, it's clearly overshadowed by the more popular, Goosebumps and Are You Afraid of the Dark. But you don't understand, people. This show was on my radar. It was in my crosshairs. It was right in front of me, yet I didn't even see it. For example, the first episode is directed by Joe Dante. I probably haven't mentioned this before, but Joe Dante is one of my favorite 80s directors of all time. I mean, his 80s movies were freaking hilarious, yet freaking scary. I freaking loved his work. And the same with John Carpenter. He's a huge influence on me, like with my own films. And I don't know, just I should have heard of this show. I'm a dumbass for not knowing about it, but regardless, hopefully I'll talk about Joe Dante in the future, but for now, let's just focus on the prize. Eerie, Indiana. To give you the basic plot, the show revolves around the new kid in town, Marshall Teller, and his friend, Simon Holmes, as they discover weird things going on in their hometown of Eerie, Indiana. It resembles more of an anthology series with a new situation each episode. These range from stories that involve a sentient tornado, a ritual sacrifice, a ghost from the past, and even a meta episode, where the main character is actually on the set of the show of Eerie, Indiana. Personally, this is my favorite episode, but they're all just equally zany and just awesome. This show is just the perfect mix of horror, childlike whimsy, and adventure. And, while this show is not really, horror-centered, like Goosebumps or Are You Afraid of the Dark, not really meant to, scare the crap out of you, it's still a horror-themed show, but more childlike. And what could have easily been just a throwaway show is actually a show with a lot of heart. I mean, you can just tell by the production value that they cared. This is a show that they actually put their heart and soul into. It really shows, and I just freaking loved it. This is a passion project, and I freaking was feeling love. But yeah, a great example of this is the writing. The stories, while seem like stock ideas, bring their own fresh spin to them, which other shows have copied since then. The characters are fantastic and really seem like real kids amongst the very odd situations. The main actor, Omri Katz, who you may recognize from Hocus Pocus, does an amazing job of portraying an outsider thrown into a weird world which doesn't seem to bother any other citizen in this town, while at the same time keeping the illusion that he's just a regular kid. His best friend Simon, played by Justin Shankarau, who is the voice of Harold from Hey Arnold, is a perfect sidekick character, clearly the younger one of the two, and he perfectly captures the younger brother vibe they're going for, constantly following Marshall into the fray and always staying brave in time of peril. Another notable character is Dash X, played by Jason Marsden, who's the voice of Max from a Goofy movie. But yeah, he's a very weird freaking character, and he doesn't even get introduced until midway through the season. He talks like a very low, raspy voice, has white hair, and he's just all around a very odd character. But yeah, overall, the rest of the supporting cast is fantastic, even having a handful of guest appearances, ranging from Matt Frewer, John Astin, Daniel Harris, and even a young Tobey Maguire. Now, if you're still not sold on this show, here's another little tidbit. This show sadly only had one season, and then it was cut from the air. But thankfully, it got syndicated on Disney Channel, and then eventually Fox Kids. And then from there, I don't know what happened, but it just got popular. It got a cult following, and kids loved this show. They were just eating it up. But after that, Fox decided to remake the show. Literally remake the show, and they called it Eerie, Indiana: The Other Dimension. And pretty much the premise was the same thing, but it's an alternate universe, and now we follow two other characters by the names of Mitchell Taylor and Stanley Hope. Get it? Marshall Teller, Mitchell Taylor, the same name. In all honesty, that's exactly what it was. It was a blatant knockoff, just a complete useless remake, and it just wasn't very good. I mean, don't get me wrong, it should be seen as a perfect example to show that that's how great the first one was. They tried to, remake it. I don't know whether the first one was like, lightning in a bottle or just, great timing, whatever. But the second show just didn't work. I mean, it's decent, but it's not good by any stretch of the imagination. And, come to think of it, them remaking an old show, trying to make it relevant again, it's kind of the same way how Hollywood is handling movies nowadays. But regardless, I just wanted to take a few minutes of your time just to talk about this great show that you probably never heard of. And if you have, then you understand why I'm making this video. You understand why I'm so pissed at myself for never hearing about this prior. Because while not the best show ever made, it's a damn good show. And I would have loved it even more if I had watched this thing as a kid. Well, that's the video. And yeah, this is just a great show, and I really, really loved it. I mean, honest to God, it reminds me a lot of Gravity Falls, and believe me, I am a huge fan of Gravity Falls. But yeah, it's just a fantastic show. It's a great show to recommend. I recommend it to all ages. I mean, it does not matter what age you are. You are going to love the crap out of it. It's zany, it's fun, it's just a great watch. And just try watching it by any means necessary. I mean, personally, I watch this all on YouTube, but sadly now it's all pretty much taken off of YouTube. I mean, it's a copywritten show, and it's owned by Fox, so it's definitely not going to stay on YouTube long. But regardless, just try watching it. I highly recommend it. But yeah, thank you for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys later.